Okay, welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us today for another CTC webinar. My name is Tony Crick. I'm the Civil Products Manager here at CTC Software. Today we're going to be continuing with our pipes series, and today we're going to be talking about Pipe Designer. If you have any questions while we're going along here, go ahead and type them in, and we'll get to them at the end of the presentation. So with that, let's get started. So Pipe Designer, it's one of the CIM Project Suite of tools. It is intended for the everyday Civil 3D user creating design production drawings. It will work back in the last 4 versions of Civil 3D, back to version 2020. Pipe Designer, what does that do? This tool allows us for the design of pipe network runs within the Civil 3D using a spreadsheet editor. Parts can be modified by elevations, slopes, options for slope interpolation, rule-based editing, and minimum pipe cover are also available. The tool will prompt the user to select pipes and structures in plan or profile. So Pipe Designer versus native tools. Pipe networks are great. You can get them created. You can add all the parts that you want, but they're really kind of difficult to design with. The parts contain detailed data, but are clumsy to edit in that you need to generally do them one at a time. And native reports and tables are really not broad enough. They're kind of hard to pick through if you've used them. They can be difficult to use also. And the analysis options can also be complicated. So Pipe Designer, we can design our pipes by runs. So we can do the entire network, or we can do segments of it. And we can modify the entire run and parts within it by elevation or slope. We can also interpolate the slopes, and we can check for and provide minimum pipe cover. And it's all done. The main form is a familiar Excel-like spreadsheet interface, like many of our tools are. And as we mentioned, you can select your parts by plan or profile. And it works with our other pipe tools as well. So you can see from the slide there, we've covered Parts Swapper and Parts Tagger. And our last webinar, we did Pipe Planner. And they all work together. So it updates everything native, all the native properties. And it pulls the rule sets from the native design. Any rules that you have created for your pipes and or structures will be available. So with that, let's jump into the drawing here and see some examples of it. So here we have a drawing that you've seen before if we've been in some of our other webinars. These profiles were created using Sheet Generator up here to make lay out our sheets, but at this point they're very crude. Right now they have just the parts and the profiles. And here's the full profile up here. This is what we're going to be working mainly with today, at least to start with. So let's go ahead and open Pipe Designer. It's right up here in the middle. So right away it prompts us to pick pipe or structure for the first connected pipe. I'm going to go ahead and pick the entire run. I could certainly do a portion of it. In fact, I will right now to show you one of the options that's in there. So let's just do that portion of it right now. So here's what the interface looks like. There are some columns we can add here. I'll show you that in a second. But here's what we selected right here. So some of the things we can do with it will go into options here, and we'll see what that has in it. So we have our typical, remember the size and position of this window, or the main window, sorry, this one. And will it highlight our rule violations? Yes, we'll see that. We'll highlight, or we'll violate some. So then our supplemental cover checking, the default is the pipe ends. You can also click the center. So we can set how often will it look for cover. So right now it's at every 10 feet, just for fun. Right now, let's just make that 5. So we'll say 5, and here's what we can display here. I'm gonna go ahead and click them all on for right now, just so we can see what we get when these are all populated. So everything's selected. Let's just say okay here. And you'll notice right away the white columns, those are columns that we can edit. These others we cannot. We have other tools that you can do that in, but for this tool, that's what we have available. And it should serve most of your needs. So moving on down the line, we have things here. We could change these. Instead of pipe, we could just say pipe, and we can do that also with Pipe Planner. We saw that in one of our other webinars. So again, within here, I didn't mention this right here, the precisions. So what we're seeing in our table is a drawing. I have my precisions set to 4 places. Maybe we don't need that, so we can set right here. And you see that changes right there. It doesn't affect your drawing at all. If you like to draw highly accurate stuff with 8 decimal places, that will not be affected. So up here we have our methods. Here's some of the things we can design by. So we can edit our slopes by matching the inverts or the crowns, obverts, whatever your choice of nomenclature is. We can click the edit elevations. That grays out some, brings others back to editing for sump, for instance. And our drop gets added when we do with that method. So we can set some things. There's handy little tool tips here. It doesn't seem to be turning on right now. Don't know why. You have to click on it. There we go. So we get some tool tips right here as well. Kind of handy if you're using this for the first time. And here's just some things we can set within it. So the constant factor that comes into play if you're matching by obverts right here. So that's a default. You can change it here. You can change it there. Many different options in here. So on our rule sets, those are right here. If we want to apply the rules to the whole thing, I don't think I have any in this drawing set. Let's go look at that. So the rule sets, that's just coming from your native tool settings over here. From your pipes. Oops. pipe rule set. So that's the rule set. It's just the basic right there. Your pipe parts can have rule sets as well. And same with the structure right there. So that's what it will draw from, the one you have selected. Let's open Pipe Designer back up and select those same ones. So we'll go to this, take it to this one here, the lower one, just for right now. Again. So we have this, the reselect and the zoom over here. So the zoom simply allows us to get into the drawing and zoom to an area to see what might be happening while we're making changes here. And the reselect, if you need to add any or change your runs as you are on the fly here, we can do that too. So here, I said I was going to leave that. We'll go all the way to the end this time. And let's go back to the options. I'm going to set it to the default. That's the default that comes with the designer. You can't change these that I'm aware of in the default, but you certainly can turn these on and it will remember that every time, whatever you want to see here. So as you can see, we reselected everything here. So now all the parts show up. And we can see what our covers are. So right out of the gate, you might go ahead and have these parts, put them in your network, take some shots at what your elevations and stuff should be. Maybe use one of our other tools to relate it to an alignment and the surface to get your rims, pull your rims off of there, and so on. So some of the things we can do within here. Maybe we don't want these structures like this. Maybe you just took the default as you were creating them. Well, that's easy enough. We can go ahead and we can change these right here. We'll start first one at 101, 102, and being this is an XL, I can grab this and pull this down. And they didn't renumber. Let's try that again. There we go. So being that it's XL, it follows the same formatting, and now they're renumbered in order. We can do the same thing with the pipes. If we don't want it to be pipe 1, for instance, we can just say 1, 2, try that again. There we go. Okay, so that took. So I can say apply right here, and you'll see this one change right away. That's visible. These three, I'll apply. And again, we can do this with Pipes Planner as well. But if you're in here and you're doing your design, why not do it right here? So you see those changed, and also the pipes, pipe numbers in plan view will change. I don't have those turned on here. Oh, it's regenning, okay. So we go down here and we can look at, I put these little labels on here for our pipes. To me, it helps with the design. You can label them with your length, size, and slope. It's kind of hard to tell when you're using Pipe Designer where they are. So if we have our numbers here, they show up, you can put them on a note plot or you can delete them. However you want to establish your workflow. So let's open Pipe Planner back up again and do some things. So let me pick the whole run again. Okay, I'll spread that out. So here we can see what our cover is. I said we can change what we want our minimum cover to be. So this is a sanitary system. In our area of the country, they need to be a minimum of 8 to 8.5. I'm going to set this all at 8.5 feet. Set it, and then I'm going to apply it. So it's going to interpolate from the surface that's referenced in your design. And it's going to give you your minimum cover, and you get a cover report sort of right here, so we know everything is good. Got a couple at 8.5. And we can do, in the last webinar, I didn't do a pipe depth report from here, so I can say okay. And we can change that at any time too. So we see what happened here. It's following right along. So let's go back to our other tool here, Pipe Planner. And we can get a pipe depth report out of this. Oops, grabbed the wrong. I think that was the import sheet if you had exported it. Okay, I don't know why it's doing that. Let's go here. I think it's just jumping around in the webinars. So here's the initial report page form. I had made one for pipe depth reports, so I can load that from my template. We showed you that in the last webinar, how to create templates. So as that loads, we get some depth reports right here. So I'm going to make sure that's selected. I'm going to push everything out of there. And I'm going to get those out of there, because that isn't what I was expecting to see. And let's go ahead and push the pipes back in there. And the settings for the reporting is coming from this right here. I showed that in the last webinar. These I have set from 1 to 3 feet, starting for the sanitary for 1 to 3 feet, measured from the top. And it's going to report every foot till we get down to the 8 foot. And then I'm just going to go 8 to 12 and check and see if there's any beyond 12 to 25. So we can close that here, close all the categories. I don't know why it's not closing. Oh, I'm pushing the wrong button. Okay. And then we can say depth as a search. And calculated field, so depth at interval. So if I push this over, oh, that's why we're not seeing. Okay, So if I had it shallower, in fact, we'll go back and do that, but if I had it shallower, we'd see, but so between 1 to 8 feet, it's finding no pipes that are deeper than that. So that's 8 to 12. So let me just say, okay, and from here you can export that as we showed in the last one. Let's go back here and let's change that depth back to 3 feet and push that over just so you can see how that works a little bit. It's this easy to do with these tools. So we're gonna come back here, I'll select the entire run. And you could do just a portion of it too if you wanted to. So let's see what happens if we change this to, let's put that back to, it might have been 3 before. I'm gonna say to set the minimum cover. Then I'm gonna apply it. You should see this jump right here and behind there. So you see that jumped up, and now we've got different numbers. So we can say, okay, we'll go back, we'll open, and we should see some of the other columns populated. So here now they populated. So they kicked them at the end, and we showed you last time that we can reorder those however you want to. We can move them to the right, so now they're in order. So from 5 to 6, we've got that. 8 to 10, 4 to 5. That didn't move for some reason. Anyway, I'm not going to mess with it. You get the idea. So from 4 to 5 feet, these pipes fall within, I don't have the names on there, but fall, yeah, I do. 1, fall in those categories. So you get your pipe report from there. So now we'll jump back in there and we'll do some editing. So I'm going to focus down in this area right now, just this little short run right here. But first, let's set that depth back. We'll do some of the other things that are involved here. I'm just going to make it 8. We're doing the whole run, so it takes just a little bit to do all the calculations, and they're simply just calculating slopes. So we get the cover that's going to change the inverts, and they're all Excel run over length to come up with our slopes, for instance. So it saves all that right there. So right now here we have, as you can see, again, we're good to go, 797 to the top. So right here, part behavior, top of pipe. Okay, so some of the other things we can do here. Again, we could apply rules. We'll jump into another drawing. We'll do a little bit of that, some interpolate slopes. And so this is whatever you have selected. So every structure and pipe that we have selected. So 101 to 102 with pipe 1 in between to 124. You can do this if you just want to do it. This one pipe, you can interpolate a slope right there. So we'll do from 101 to 102 and involve pipe 1. That's how that one works. So I'm going to say okay right here. Let's jump out of this real quick, and I want to show you too that you don't have to do it in an entire run like this. You don't have to do parts of the run. As we saw when I opened this up, this was the one we created in another webinar for Sheet Generator. So we have all of our profiles laid out here. They have no labels, obviously. We can solve that easy enough with another one of our tools. But we can make our changes here too, and it will be reflective because they're part of the network. It'll be reflective through the entire network. You know what, since I mentioned it, I'll just go ahead and show you how quickly we can label all of these profiles with Label Genie. So I use this to label the full length one. So we can come in here, everything is set up to go. Maybe you've seen how this works before. Whatever's there, you can select. So we're going to do the sanitary. We can do it by our pipes. We can do it by profile, how we want our label styles to be. Structures, sanitary profile. I think that's fine. We'll see. So we set it there, and then we got to pick our profiles. So I use that to set that when I did the full one. And we could go certainly pick profiles one at a time, but I'm going to do it by wildcard. So it gives me 10, and I'm just going to exclude that one. Say timber path full, and I'll click this, and it should drop to 9, and that's how many we have there. And I should be able to just click the add. So I'm just going to put 65 labels on there. Say okay, and now we have our labels. So now we can see if we do some editing here, we can see how those changes. So let's just do this little short one for right here. So we can click that, and we can go ahead and we can change the slope. Maybe we want a little more slope. We're going downhill, whatever you want to do. So this is going from structure 101 to 102. That's how these go. From 102 to 103. We'll take that one. So let's just change that to 1%. And if you're doing a whole stack, you can drag these as well. The same way our other pipes work. And I can say, okay. Oops, they went up. I didn't put negative. That's okay, we'll fix that. So you see all the labels update with it. Everything is tied dynamically. One of the real beauties of Civil 3D and our tools is that there's nothing proprietary. I'll go ahead and apply. And okay. So now that all updated. We can go back to the full profile. So probably would want to work. So see what happened here is it grabbed this one and moved. Because we set only from there to there, it grabbed this one, or left this one in place. So from here we can fix that too. So we can do, if we're targeting for something we don't want to move right there, so 109. Click the wrong thing. And you can do it either way too. I could do it the other way. It's just how the order is going to be. So let's do that, in fact. Maybe you're designing upstream from that point, as you probably would in a storm situation. So you see I put our order here with 109 first. So 109 is first. And if I want to target that and I don't want that to move, I can lock. Oh, I don't have that. I don't have rules, so I can't lock it. We'll show you that in another one. But to edit those that were bad, so it was 102 to 103, and our invert pipe was, so this is 18.65. Our drop, I'm going to make this 0. I'm going to apply. So I don't have it on screen. So I'm going to apply. Say OK. We're being pretty buggy today. Must be the heat. So you see that fix that right there. So we put a 0. It was that 5-foot drop. Put the 0. And we took care of that. I think you're kind of getting the idea on that. So let's move on to another one where we do have some rules, and I'll show you some other things. So again, we can do this in short runs. We can do this the whole system. We can do laterals. So let's concentrate on this one right now. So this lateral section right here at 15 plus 50 on the profile. So let's do a couple of things here to show you a little more how the tool works. You that people that do this a lot out there are more familiar with these tools and networks and can probably see already the power in it. So you see it, the parts that I picked in my profile, highlighted in the plan right there. So we're working on this run right now. So here's that status where we get the red. We told it to highlight in our options. Told it to highlight our rule violations right there. So this one has actual rules in it and parts that have rule sets in there. So right away we have those are violated. So I'm going to use this interpolate slope right here from 4A to 4B, so the whole length here, just to show you how that works a little bit. So I'm going to do that, and then because we have rules on this one, I can lock that invert. So 106, that's this one right here. I'm going to lock that invert so this won't move. None of this will move. It should interpolate the runs between these two and land at the invert. So just see, hopefully it works right. Hope we hit that right. We'll click apply. And we violated some more slopes. I was expecting this to drop down and grab the bottom of there, but you can see that those change to interpolate the slope. Let me see if I unlock that. Okay, it's not locked. Let's try it again and see what happens. The beauty of this Civil 3D is you can always undo as well. So that didn't work quite like I thought it would. Let's try this one more time. Let's see if we apply the rules. I should have locked that. I'm getting the same thing. Okay, so that's not working like I thought it would. I expected this to drop and to come in here, as I said. Now this would have been a crazy slope, but these are violated. So what are these? I said that they're set to your rules, so we didn't make those minimum qualifications that we have in our rules. So let's go see what they are. I can come over here and I can look at my pipe rules. Those are, we have 118 for sure, the other one's hidden under here. But let's just see what they are. I think when I made them, I believe I made them all the same. So pipe rule set, we'll check that 18-inch. Take a look, what were the rules that we had to it. So cover and slope, minimum slope is, I said 52%. Common in one of the jurisdictions that we use up here. So now that we know what that is, I can come back to my drawing and I can manually enter that. Or I'll show you another thing we can do here. Let me see if this works again with the lock. I could go here and I can lock that invert again and I can apply the rules. But I think I didn't set the rules to hold, so we could have an issue. But here it's taking those two right away. And we know we got a sump of 9. If I say apply, okay, yeah. So you get a warning here that's going to tell you something ain't quite right there. So in this case, I'm going to say no. And I can change that. I think I can change it. Oh, I can just cancel out. We'll cancel out of there. We'll go ahead and we'll pick that again. And that warning told us too what, right here, minimum slope is violated. Sump depth value is violated. I could have looked to see what that was too, but we can go ahead and we can say that we want these at 52. Now I don't have to say minus because it's going between those, so it knows. I can change that also to 52. Or it's not 52. 0.52. Don't make it 52. 0.52. And I can apply. And I can say okay, and here it updated right away. Let's just try something here. Not sure if this will take care of drop this one down or not, and lower that. Oh, let's try. I'm going to interpolate that. I'm going to tell this to lock. And you guys will get a better handle on this as you use it in a real situation here. And I see that it did not, we can see these numbers did not change. So whatever I did, I didn't do, get it to work like I expected. But I think you get the idea. And like I said, as you are out there messing with things, doing things, you'll figure out what you need to do to make it look like you want. Now I could come in here and I could manually change that. I'm not going to. I could come here, click the invert. It's going to tell me the invert. I could change that to get it to drop. Again, I said I'm not going to. But that's how you would fix that issue right there. So with that, I'm not going to take up any more of your time. That's all I really had to show you today. I think we covered everything when we double check here. Yeah, we did our interactive piping. We changed entire networks and we applied rules to check for violations. So we did all that with a couple of bonus things in there with Label Genie and also using Pipe Planner to get our pipe depth report. think we have another sheet generator webinar coming up. So with that, then, thank you again for joining us. And this is, as we said before, the pipes tools, the set of tools are part with one free one in there, the light green one, as you can see. It's part of the CTC CIM Project Suite of tools. We're currently at version 24.0. We also have the CIM Management Suite, and that also is version 24.0. If you have it and we have an update coming, you will automatically get that and you can load it and you're ready to go with the latest and greatest. And if you don't have it and you'd like to get it, you can contact your local reseller or contact us here at CTC Software. We'd be happy to help you out. So again, thank you for joining us today. And if you have any questions, you can type them in now and we'll get to them at the end. Otherwise, that's all I have. And thank you for joining us. Hope to see you at our next webinar. And this, by the way, webinar will be available on our website, our YouTube channel, shortly after this. So in a day or two, certainly by next week. So again, thank you for joining us and hope to see you next time.